Hello, and welcome to 100% Real with Ruby. Today, I have one of my Instagram best friends, Brooke, on here. And one thing that we always talk to each other about in the back and forths is just how simple nutrition can be. This is going to be like your non-stop shop for making nutrition nice and easy if mostly fat loss is your goal. But not only that, you want to live a leaner life. Like you want to live it. You don't just want to lose the weight and then gain it back again. And that all comes down to the way that you structure your food, your habits, but also your mindset and approach towards the food. And you've heard it over and over again on this podcast in how the biggest setback is thinking that your sacrifices that you're making to lose weight are going to be there forever. But no, it just feels like sacrifices now. You're doing the hard shit now. And over time, number one, it gets easier. But you don't need to have the exact same sacrifices in a fat loss phase as you do once you're out of it. But it's these habits that Brooke and I are about to talk about that allow you to enjoy that burger, to enjoy that social meal without, there should never really be guilt attached to food. But so many of you experience it, but without that food anxiety, without that guilt, without the, oh no, my life is always happening to me. There are always barriers coming up. I don't feel like this is cut out for me. Well, honey, I mean this in the nicest way because I was there too. It's like you aren't this unique person that has only things happening in your life. Everyone does. It's just that like some people can tolerate a lot more than other people. Like, for example, I wonder how the hell these mums with 3 kids manage to juggle everything when you see them prepping their meals, showing up, and I'm just like, I don't even have 3 kids, and I'm not even at that level. It's like, I'm not even at that level, but we all have our own level that allows us to find our balance, our normal, which to me, my balance might not look like your balance. My balance is I prep my meals every single week. Like I prep 21 containers. I have 5 meals a day. I prep meal 2, meal 3, meal 4. Meal 1 is bread. Meal 5 is bread because I fucking love bread, but they're easy to go. And this is going to kind of weave into the conversation I'm about to start off with Brooke, in that so many of us, we're not only wasting excessive money on products, on gimmicks, on fat loss supplements, on new programs, new challenges, things that we just want to see results. But we're also putting that money towards things that aren't allowing us to finally be confident. It's like we're doing all these artificial things, but they're not things that are truly making us confident in ourselves, proud of the body. So like, yes, go do the beauty things that you need to do when you can do them as well. But it's like, what is it you truly want? What's going to make you happy? Because you can't complain about the results you don't have if your priorities, and like I always say, if you look at your outgoings in terms of costs, that will determine not only your priorities, but the results you are seeing in your body, because you don't get results from focusing on results. I'm going to let Brooke go on her monologue soon because she started ranting right before I clicked record. And I'm like, fuck, wait, I need to click record. But not only your results, like you don't get results from focusing on results. It's what are your priorities? Where are you directing your money? Because you don't start with a coach and then do their minimum period and then leave. Like you need to be willing to dedicate yourself to a long period of time, at least a year. Give yourself that year to set you up for life. That is an investment in yourself. It's not a cost. These other things are costs. And what this is relating to with what I was talking to Brooke is food set people saying that healthy eating is expensive. This is expensive. Well, if you hire the supplement bro that's going to put you on every single supplement stack saying that this is what you need, or you think the latest fat burner or thermogenic is going to help, then that's why. My clients only take creatine. They take protein powder, but that's not really a supplement. And they only take that if they don't hit their protein intake. Or they just enjoy smoothies and they do that. Or they enjoy oats for breakfast or cereal for breakfast. Yes, you can eat cereal for breakfast if you need to because you're on a time crunch or because you enjoy it. But where's the fruit? Where's the plants? Where's the protein? That's where adding in fruit, That's where adding in protein powder can make cereal, especially if you pick a whole grain cereal, especially if that is your meal for breakfast and it's not like a side to an omelet or something, then yes, it's best to pick the whole grains because that's going to help with many other things. We'll touch on that part later with food choices. But cereal, that's called a fast meal. My bread in the morning, that's a fast meal. I don't do sweet food. My dessert is bread. That's a fast meal. But when we think of fast food restaurants, when we actually consider how many times we eat out, how many times we try to get that quick thing on the go, that protein bar, that coffee, that latte, which if you're not including that into your calorie counts and you're wondering why you can't lose weight or why you're gaining weight on deficit calories, that is why. That's why your deficit calories aren't working. Like all these little things count. Plus, if you're eating out a lot, you might be eating in a deficit, but gaining fat, but not seeing results because your deficit calories that you're tracking aren't the deficit calories that your body is tracking. So you're tracking a certain thing, but your body is tracking the excess oil that was put into that food, the butter that it was cooked in, that they didn't, like the calorie counts that you see online are usually half of what is reality. Between half to 70% of what is reality. So the more you're eating out, the more you're leaving to chance. In a deficit phase, I prefer to not eat out at all. If I have to, I will keep it to the absolute minimum. And I'm a bossy bitch at the restaurant. This is what I want. Because a fat loss phase is not meant to last forever. Get it over and done with so you can come out and make more balanced choices when you're out. You're still probably not going to get away with a whole pizza. Like this is where these habits come in. So with that, here's Brooke. That was a really long monologue for me. I'm sorry, but Brooke.
No. I mean, I think it was so awesome. I enjoyed listening to it myself. But I think that, like you mentioned, I love the comment about looking at like how you're spending. Because what is that saying? That's like, that is what is important to you. If you look at how you're managing your time, how you're spending your money. And in discussion about the cost of going out to eat, which you and I started talking about, there's this chain near us, and I'm in Connecticut, by the way, in case anyone was wondering. Jay and I, my husband, went to go get food the other day at this place called Chick-fil-A, Ruby, for 2 salads, 2 grilled nuggets, and then I think 2 diet lemonades. It was literally $40.
But just that, it's insane.
It is. So, I mean, and you know, you and I were discussing before about how some people might feel like spending money on a coach is something that they really can't allocate the funds to. And I realize that, you know, everyone has a different budget. But I know that a lot of, you know, coaches might have different options depending on people's budgets and things like that. But at the end of the day, and I don't know what it's like in Australia, but here, Ruby, we in school are not taught like anything about nutrition at all. Like you might get a class or two, and what I learned about nutrition in, you know, growing up in school was taught by a gym teacher. And he basically was reading out of a textbook. And I mean, it was just, and I would say, I mean, even in high school, I mean, we learned nothing. Where I learned the bulk of what I know was when I actually went to school to study it.
And that's actually the funny thing. And this is why I love you. Like, there are not a lot of dietitians online that I like. Most of them I don't like. I'm sorry. But
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't like them either.
That's exactly why I love Brooke. Because she's like, I have this like ick with, I know that, I'm sorry, I know that they have like this title to their name, but I have an ick with pretty much the word dietitian and dietitians, just simply from the fact that a lot of, like, I have a few clients that have come to me from dietitians where the dietitians fucked them up. And when you see people online that are preaching sports performance, body composition, they actually are the ones that you know you can follow. And Brooke is one of those people where when I had people come to me from dietitians, it's like talking to like doctors are like, never listen to your doctor for nutrition advice. I had someone tell me once, don't listen to nutritionists online listen to your doctor when it comes to nutrition advice. I'm like, are you freaking serious? Like, they know jack shit about nutrition. But most dietitians are like that too, in that they're like, you need like 80 grams of protein. Let's just focus on this and this. And then they overemphasize the amount of fats you need, which if you actually listen to the literature, you don't need that many fats to make sure that there's no gallstones or any of the things that can come from really low fat intake. Like you don't, yeah, I'm going to let you say something soon. Like you don't need as much to say, but quality fats count. I'm going to let you take that away now.
Well, where I was going with this, and I kind of started going off on a rant. And by the way, I've gotten into many a fight with dietitians in like Facebook groups saying like, oh, you need like 0.6 grams per kilogram for protein. And like, they'll tell me that my advice that I'm giving is wrong. And I'm recommending like double the amount of protein that they recommend. I'm like, yeah, no, you are mistaken. But many a fight I've had. But where I was going is most people have no idea, Ruby, about anything, about how to make, like, yeah, I guess most people would say that they know vegetables are good, although now we know nowadays we have doctors online demonizing vegetables. I never thought I would see the day when people are like, don't eat vegetables, they're bad for you, but here we are. But I think that it's so important. And I think when people realize just how beneficial it is to have someone like actually teach you how to lead a healthy lifestyle, how to make balanced choices, that all the bullshit they see on like the checkout lines at the grocery stores saying like, lose 10 pounds in like one day, and like, you know, crazy shit that we see on magazines and on social media everywhere, on TV, whatever. So to actually work with someone and learn how to eat in a way that's appropriate for you and your goals without having to eliminate anything. I mean, people tell me all the time, like, oh my God, like this is the best I've felt in years, because they don't have this like, I don't know, like black cloud kind of following them around all the time. Like they're worried about every little thing they put in their mouth. You know, it's horrible. Ever since they were little, you know, their mothers were on strict diets, you know, saying you can't eat this, you can't eat that. They saw their moms like being super restrictive. That impacted them. So it takes a long time, Ruby, to break that thought process. But that's why I think working with a coach, like someone like us, and then also even a therapist, because like this stuff like goes deep, you know what I mean?
The therapist part, honestly, don't overlook that stuff, because it is something that can supplement your journey. A lot of people think that they just need tough love or they just need more discipline or more willpower, but it is so not that. Like if tough love was the answer, you would have had you would be where you are right now. If being hard on yourself was the answer, you would be where you want to be right now. And I love what you mentioned, because it's not just the financial cost of all the different things you're doing in the moment. It's the stress, it's the overwhelm, it's the guessing game, you're not going to commit to anything for long enough if you don't think that thing's going to lead to where you want to go. Because it's like, well, if I commit to this, what if I actually end up worse? So I'm not going to commit to that sort of thing. And it's hard if you only see the timeline with your coach, or you only see this end goal with a program or challenge, but you're not actually factoring it into, how is this fitting into my life? What's going to happen next? How am I meant to eat for life and not just for a fat loss phase? Because how you eat for a fat loss phase, you're not just going to stay on those same calories. And I see all the time, I need ideas for protein. This is a part that I really wanted to talk to Brooke about. I need ideas for protein. I need some more meal recipes. Like, yes, okay, cool. Some meal ideas are great, but the reality of nutrition is that we typically eat the same foods on a regular basis. We gravitate to what is automatic, and most people's automatic is Chick-fil-A, Macca's / McDonald's / whatever is around near you. Like that is your normal, or your normal is just picking something fast out of some shop down the road that says high protein, but it's not high protein. Like a lot of times we think that something's high protein when it's not, or something is healthy when it's not. Like I saw one of my friends on Facebook post this thing saying, I'm here to nourish myself and get this body functioning really well again. And inside this bowl, I see chia seeds in the oats, I see like a huge handful of trail mix and then fresh fruit. I'm like, yeah, that's great. But that's also probably like 800 calories because chia seeds, the nuts, the dried fruit, like, yes, it looks like a healthy bowl, but healthy does not equate to fat loss. And
Right.
then if that was from a chain restaurant and you're getting some yogurt with all this other stuff that's full fat yogurt, most likely, that is stuff that you don't even know what's in there. So that's something to factor in as well. But back to the point, now I went on a tangent. You don't need more meal ideas. You need more repetition, and you need to know the basics of how to structure a meal together. Take it away.
Yes. And I will say, and I know you probably experience the same thing when people come to work with me, mostly women, most of my clients are women, they're consuming about half the amount of protein that they should be daily. They oftentimes are skipping meals. They are not having breakfast. They're having maybe coffee, and then they end up overeating later on in the day. They are not basing their meals around a high quality protein source. And that's something I really do stress with my clients. I'm like, make protein the star of the show, make it the star of your plate. That's what I say. And then I say, work in your, fats and carbs. I really only have my clients track total calories, fiber, and protein, because I don't want them, being so concerned with playing macro tetris, I say. But oftentimes I find people will try and make these complex recipes with like a million different ingredients and steps. And then when you ask people to track, they're like, how do I track this? It's hard to track when meals have a million. I don't even eat that way because I don't want to bother with tracking that, maybe once in a while. But I mean, yeah, it's hard to track when you're trying to put together recipes with 4 million steps and ingredients. So the more simple single ingredient foods you can eat to assemble your meals, the easier it's going to be. It's going to be very easy for you to track that. And also, you're probably going to just feel a lot better overall eating mostly minimally processed foods that are single ingredients. You're going to feel more full and satisfied. So
I like that part with the 1 million ingredients to track. Like, this is the exact thing, but it does not mean bland food. You don't need to track your herbs, your spices, your condiments like that, unless you're using, I can't believe it's butter and stuff like that. Please track that, because I had a client who was wondering why she was going in the opposite direction. And she's like, this is all I use. And it says 0 calories. I'm like, how much of that are you using? She's like, oh, just a little spray. I'm like, honestly, how much of that are you using? She's like, well, I do cover the pan and I use it for all of my meals. That is like 200 calories at minimum hidden in that. And if you are a small female and you're sedentary, even 50 calories over can blow your budget, because over time, that is 50 times 7. That's 350 calories that you're taking yourself out of whatever deficit you created in the week. That's enough to keep you in maintenance. So be really careful with that. And this is where meal planning is different. Well, I'll bring up that part later. Planning is different than prepping, but that will be another thing later. But the macro tetris thing that you mentioned is really powerful too, because a lot of people say tracking is so obsessive. Tracking is blah, 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 blah. It's like, as long as you're eating a minimum amount of fruit and veggie, which for me, it's just like hit at least 600 grams of fruit and veg combined, but aim for 800. 800 is like my pinnacle for fruit and veg combined. If you hit that, you most likely hit your fiber intake, because then other things can come from your other foods if you're thinking health focused approach. Like, you should always be thinking health focused. Your whole grains. I eat white bread, but I still include whole grains in my diet. It's making sure that you are meeting yourself where you're at. So if you're just new to this, or it's feeling overwhelming, or you came from a coach that made you hit everything to a gram, then let's just track your calories and let's just track your protein. Let's just make sure that you're getting in enough protein, and let's not worry about the rest. But if you're someone who cares about your energy and your performance, or you're someone that overconsumes fats and you're wondering why you're not getting anywhere, because like you said, people usually consume half of the amount of protein. They also usually consume double the amount of fats, and they don't even track half the fats that they eat. And that is usually why they're feeling the way that they're feeling. They're not seeing the results that they're feeling, because fats don't contribute to body composition. They're just there for hormonal health and for other functioning. It's carbs and protein that are mostly body composition. Fats, you want to make sure you're getting enough omega-3s. You want to make sure that there's, I like saying at least 0.6 grams per lean body mass kilo. That's like what Alan Aragon says too, and you've heard him talk on that before. That as long as you're hitting that minimum for your lean body mass, like if you're 200 pounds or 100 kilos, whatever, you don't need to eat 0.6 of that. And I think this is also where a lot of macro calculators, we'll go into macro calculators as well, but macro calculators can completely screw your readings if you're in the more overweight category, because you don't need to eat what they tell you to eat for a 100-kilo person. Like, no, you have a lot more stored body fat. You can get away with less. It's just how are you factoring it in? But yeah, anyway, so if you can scale upon the spectrum of like the clients that I have that I don't want to track all of the macros. I want your carbs around your training. I want your fruit and veg. I want your protein. I don't care where the end of day totals hit. So that's my little spiel on macro tetris. So now let's do meal planning versus meal prepping and macro calculator bullshit.
So with meal prepping versus meal planning, I don't know like what you recommend to people. But I do think, what's that?
Our ingredient prep chat.
Oh, ingredient prep. Yeah. Well, that's how I eat. So at the beginning of every week, I'll generally prepare like some different proteins, a bunch of vegetables. Like this week, I made big salads, which I'll be adding different proteins to throughout the week. Very boring, but also very delicious. I'm getting lots of fiber. And I think that for me, like, I just want to know that that's all taken care of and set for me. And then you don't have to worry as you go throughout the week. But I know, and I'm sure you see it too, a lot of people are worrying meal to meal because they haven't prepped or even thought about anything, Ruby. So it's hard to hit targets, and it's frustrating when you don't take any time to prepare. So every Sunday, almost, I think you've seen my posts, I'm like, Sunday's a good time to set yourself up for the coming week. I say it ad nauseum because I think that it really is worth taking a couple of hours. Even an hour, I feel like would be better than nothing, to just go into the week knowing that you have yourself set up to make some good choices that you don't have to worry about. And if you have your breakfast and lunches kind of set, because a lot of people might vary dinner just because that's when they're eating with their family, you know. But if you have your breakfast and lunch set, then you only really need to worry about dinner.
And that's enough variety to keep spice in your life as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't need to eat the exact same carbon copy meal if you're not like me and my ADHD likes working that way because I need structure. But if you're not like the ADHD, like a lot of ADHD people say that they need a lot of variety when really you don't. You need that variety. Like you need to add more spice to your life. With us, decision fatigue is the worst. And if we aren't planning ahead of time, I know I probably don't have a lot of neurodivergence on this podcast, but if you're someone who is really busy and you're already making a lot of decisions for the family, the last thing you want to do is have to make a decision 6 times a day, 4 times a day, 5 times a day. That's like 30 times a week on average that you need to be thinking about food. No wonder you're overwhelmed. No wonder you go to fast food. No wonder you think this is too hard for you. Like, you can be like Brooke, you can ingredient prep because that's exactly what she does. She preps a bunch of proteins. She has a lot of like stuff that's ready to go that you don't need to prep. And she has the salad, she has the veggies. She preps her, whatever her carbs are as well. I do the same thing, but then I shove them into containers because I really don't want to worry about cooking. I just want to shove them into the microwave and have those 3 meals there because I'm busy. And I know a lot of you are too. You, like many of you might not have the luxury to just cook a fresh meal every single time. Meal prep for at least the day's meals. And you can, like I said, it doesn't have to be a carbon copy. You don't want apple with a meal, have orange. You don't want orange, have peaches. You don't want berries, have something else. Like you can change around the veggie choice. You can change around the fruit choice. If you know that structure that's there, you can be like, I don't feel like rice in this meal. I'm going to have noodles of the same calories. I'm going to have pasta of the same calories. I'm going to turn this into like some bread meal, have like my bread on the side. It's like the same components. Don't want chicken, have turkey. Don't want turkey, have tuna. Don't want tuna, have whitefish. As long as it's still a lean protein. Salmon doesn't count in that because salmon is half protein, half fat. That's something that you need to actually account for in your fats as well. This is where having a coach can help you with your nutrition choices. But yeah. And planning now, because planning is different from prepping.
Yeah. So what I recommend to people too, and if you eat a lot of the same meals, you can literally copy and paste those meals into coming days. So it's already in your tracker for you. And you can make those little minor adjustments as you go. So that's one of the many benefits of having a lot of the same meals. But yeah, in terms of planning, again, beginning of the week, sit down, literally figure out what you might prepare for the week. Make sure you go to the store with a list so that you can bring everything home with you or set up a Instacart delivery or whatever, if that works better for you. So then you know that everything you need is on hand and then you're not like scrambling around.
I love that part as well. And it's like, I'm always flabbergasted when I do nutrition audits for my clients as well, because I guess it's like a practice that you need to bring in, where if you open my log, I hardly ever open my tracking app. And sometimes if I change things around, it's like I tell my own coach, I'm like, I couldn't be bothered changing my meal plan around in the app, but I pretty much eat the same thing. I just sometimes change a couple of things here and there, but I log that whole week ahead because I eat like I know what I'm eating for that whole week. It's just sometimes I might sub a few things here and there that are similar calories, or I might, knowing me, I'm probably going to be eating an extra freaking 200 grams of pickles and I actually log, and I can't be bothered adding in that extra 200 grams of pickles because I just have a pickle obsession. But it's like I'm in maintenance. That 200 grams of pickles, it's a freaking vegetable that's pickled. Like, what's it going to add an extra like 50, 100 calories? That's not going to blow me out of budget when I'm in maintenance. So know where you are in a fat loss phase. I would probably track everything to the gram. But in maintenance, I just fiddle around with it. I log ahead of time. So many people log as they go, or they just log that day in retrospect. With if you're logging the day in retrospect, you're definitely not hitting your targets because you don't remember everything you eat, everything you snack on. And logging your food can actually help if you're a snacker, because it's like, I can't be bothered logging this and it's a snack. And it might actually deter you from snacking. But at the same, I cannot wait to talk about snacks. I'm so happy about that. That's going to come soon because Brooke and I have the same thing with snacks. It's like, you don't need high protein snacks. High protein snacks are not the thing that you need. Snacking is not the thing. Like, you can have a dessert. You can enjoy dessert with your husband without, like, with my clients, I know that you're probably similar with this because we preach the same message. I don't have to ask, but it's like, let's pack your day with protein. Let's pack your day with produce. You can still add fruit to dessert, which I highly recommend because that's probably most beneficial for you. But then you don't have to worry about having a protein high dessert. You can enjoy whatever the hell you want because you covered your basics for the day. Yeah. But if you haven't, then you can add something small to that, like Greek yogurt, like something like that. But yeah, I'll let you take that part away now.
Oh yeah. So I'm always asked, what are some high protein snack ideas? Always. And I'm like, okay, why don't we just make your meals bigger? Make them more filling and actually increase the protein of those and the fiber. And then when people do that, they're like, yeah, I don't really feel like snacking so much anymore. I'm like, yeah, because you're actually eating meals that make you feel full. It's crazy. I mean, again, like, and I'm sure you see it too, like women will in the morning, like I have this one lady that just comes to mind. She would start every day off with like a small little pot of yogurt. It wasn't even Greek yogurt. It was just like some regular, I don't know, I don't even remember the brands, but it had like 6 grams of protein, Ruby. And she was telling me, I'm starving. After I get home from work, she was a teacher. She would get home and she would eat like her pantry because she was starving. So we worked on increasing the protein earlier in the day, making sure she was actually eating a substantial breakfast. And then again, the snacking thing kind of just becomes like, you don't need to because you're actually full. And a lot of times too, I think people forget to even log their snacks. So a helpful tip would be try to track prior to eating as much as possible, because good luck remembering what you ate. I can't remember what I ate today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly the point. And when you're really busy, you might not even notice that you're snacking. And if you're snacking on nuts, that's probably the worst thing you can do. If you're snacking on seeds, that's probably the worst thing you can do, because it doesn't feel like much, but it adds up to a shitload. And also the whole, like, this is why I hate fasting. And this is why I say breakfast is the most important meal, because most people do not get in enough protein and produce. What is a great meal to get in enough protein and produce? Breakfast. What is a great meal to start your energy off on a great note? Breakfast. And you know what? You actually can increase the calories you can eat on a daily basis, aka increase your maintenance, if you're eating through the day and not saving it for nighttime. Your deficit will not work for you if you're eating like a bird through the day, because that deficit automatically won't turn to a deficit, because of the fact that now you're low energy, you're not able to give as much. You might not even notice that your hand gestures, your body language, your neat, your steps, your effort in everything that you do is just lagging, because you are not feeding your most active period of time. And for someone who's interested in body composition, it is even more important. If you're someone who trains really hard, it is even more important to fuel your day. Yes, you can have a coffee on its own in the morning, as long as you eat something that is still protein and produce in the first part of your day and you hit your targets. Because having just a coffee and then just another coffee and then maybe some bagel or some croissant or something small on the way to work or at the work lunch break, that is not going to serve you long term, because that is why you can eat a substantial amount for lunch but have nothing through the day. But you can eat a substantial amount for lunch and then have that as your only real meal, and then get home ravenous and then eat a substantially huge meal and still want to keep eating. Because that, the way that the blood sugar works through the day, you are like in a gap, and that's just brought you over the gap. So now your body is going to want more, and it's giving you more signals to keep eating regardless of how full you feel.
Yeah, no one makes good decisions when they're starving. Like, it is just not going to end well. So it is really important to make sure, and, eating at consistent meal times throughout the day is really helpful as well. But I did want to bring something up, Ruby, as far as tracking goes, kind of bringing it back to the point I was trying to make earlier, and then I went off on a tangent. So talking about how people don't know anything about nutrition. Most people don't. Tracking is one of those amazing tools that we have at our disposal, that can actually teach us how to build those balanced meals, as far as portion control goes, learning that you really don't need to eliminate anything. And I think that just having people spend that time, I think that they feel that they'll have to do it forever, but you're going to give yourself such a tremendous amount of education with tracking. So I think that that's just an important point to bring up. I wanted to bring that up.
I actually really like that point. Whenever you have tangents to bring up or anything to revert to, bring it up, because I want this to be your deconfusing. I have my own Ruby vocabulary dictionary, in case you guys didn't know, but this is your deconfusion podcast, because like you said, there's the overwhelm, there's the guessing game, there's all the bullshit out there. We want to simplify things. Like, it does not mean being basic and bland, but also, like, if we're talking fat loss, you need to know what you're willing to give up and what you're not willing to give up. You need to, I said this on my stories yesterday as well, in that the fitness industry is overlooking the most important factor that holds people back from their goals. I was going to make this a reel, and I'm still not sure whether I should make it an official reel, because I'm like, does this align with who I'm trying to target? I don't know. Maybe you can like expand on it and give your thoughts on it, but it's so important. Is that our culture revolves around food. It revolves around food. It's going to make it really difficult to get lean with that. It's going to make it really difficult to stay lean with that, because if you do not learn the basics, if you do not learn how to eat out, like, so many people already know how to eat for fat loss. They already know how to grill themselves really hard. It's just that they burnt themselves out doing all of that before, that now they can't lose anything because they can't stick to anything, which brings us back to our culture revolves around food. Food brings emotions. Going back to your therapist point, that can help as well. Like I have two girls that I wish could be a lot more open with me, but obviously this is a hard concept.
Yeah.
They attach a lot of rebellion to food because everything attached to food was you're overweight, you're fat, food is this comfort thing for you. And they're so used to always being restricted all the time that it is so hard to even gain any momentum. And this is where therapy can come in to help you. But it's like, this is the thing. If you're still trying to achieve this perfect image of how you should eat, or trying to make every meal hit the perfect box to please yourself or please the nutritionist or please the coach, that's not going to help you either. It's okay to start with where you are and just pick one simple habit. It can even be protein and produce. Just focusing on eating more veggies in every meal fills you up. Focusing on how can we increase the protein amount. Like, I don't care if you still have nacho chips with it. I don't care if you still have the cookies with it. But first, have that protein and produce and then enjoy what you're eating and make sure that you're eating it mindfully. So many people gulp their food down in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. And I think in terms of what you mentioned about being rebellious, I mean, I know a lot of people that I've worked with have come from houses where, you know, food was their only source of comfort. And, you know, I don't know exactly what the relationship with their parents was like, but they've always turned to food to comfort them. So then to step away from that, I mean, it can be, I can imagine it would bring up so many different emotions, but to break a pattern that you've had for so long, it requires so much effort. So many things that we do are just, we don't even think about it. Like you walk into a room, you switch on a light switch. That's something that is so ingrained in us that we don't even have to think about it anymore. Like brushing our teeth every day. Hopefully everybody does that twice a day or more. But, you know, like things like that, we don't really give much thought to. And I think that the more people put that effort in and the more that they do the hard things that might feel really difficult at first, in time, hopefully you get to a point where it is as easy as something like brushing your teeth. You know what I mean? But the effort does need to be there consistently, and working through all that inner shit, all the shit that we carry on our back all over the place, to sort through that and work with a professional and like in time set those bricks down. It feels so good. And working with a coach and a therapist at the same time, it's like epic. I just feel like so much good will come from that combination.
I honestly don't, I shouldn't say I don't think or don't believe you should, but I don't believe that you should just work with a therapist on its own, because that's all great in theory. How's it going to be added to practicality to get you to where you want to be? Because that can easily be forgotten. And even myself, like I have both working together. Yes, it is an investment, but it's like, for me, it's more so I need to manage my neurodivergence. So that's why I have that therapy support there. But it's like, it's all well and good talking about it, but how am I now going to implement it into my life? How is this going to factor into everything that is holding me back? And I say holding me back because so many people look to everything they want to achieve. They're not actually looking to where they are right now. What is holding you back? It's all great and good to want X, Y, Z, but where does it fall off the lines? And I just pulled up your post because I wanted to like bring something up, but relationship with food is more than macros and calories. It's more than restriction. It's more than eating more, because a lot of people are already eating a lot more than they realize. It's not you're eating too little, because if you were eating too little, you would be losing weight. It's just that you don't understand nutrition and you can eat a lot more food. It's just that food doesn't equate to calories. Like that's where the protein and produce comes in, and it's learning how to eat, but also why do you eat the way that you do? Why do you move the way that you do? Why do you not move the way that you do? Why do you not eat the way that you ideally want to eat? Because if you know what you should be doing, but you're not doing it, there's a reason for that. Maybe you're setting the bar too high. Maybe you're setting your expectations too high. And it's funny how you always come down to the simple things where make sure that you get some ingredients prepped, have color on your plate. Like if you think of these health-focused approaches, everything else gets easier and you get to enjoy the special moments. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'll let you take that part.
Well, I was just going to say, I think that people either feel like they're either perfect or fuck it completely. Like, I'm not going to care. I'm going to eat everything in sight. Fuck this, fuck that. You know what I mean? But there is a middle ground. And that's where I think that we should live most of the time. Yes, we do, I think, we do need to, I'm not necessarily be hard on ourselves, but everything can't be, okay, whatever. I'll do it tomorrow. Like, we do need to light some fire under our ass and get shit done. But it's okay. We all have bad days. One of our friends passed away the other day unexpectedly. Like, I have to tell you that if I did not have my shit prepped, Ruby, I probably wouldn't have eaten anything. I just didn't want to eat. I didn't want to do anything, but I did because I had my food prepped. I still went out for my walks because those are like healing to me. You know what I mean? But not to get dark there, but it's important, like, we can't throw away taking care of ourselves completely when we have those bumps in the road. We just need to show up and do the best we can. And you've heard the term keep promises that you make to yourself. I mean, that's what you're doing. If you show up and you're genuinely doing the best you can, and only you know what that means, only you know what that is. I don't, you don't, only you, like the client, would know what that is. Then that's all that I always say, it's all I'd ever ask of you is to do the best you can.
Yeah, it's not like being hard on yourself is different than keeping promises you make with yourself. It's just that you need to make sure the promises that you're making with yourself are ones that meet you where you are at. And self-care, usually the times we don't want to do the self-care are the times that we need it most.
Yeah.
Self-care, loving yourself, accepting, compassion, that is all about holding your promises. And you will always berate your body, hate your body, feel like your body isn't where you want it to be, and all this other bullshit if you're not living in line with the vision that you have in mind that you know you can be. Because if you know that you can be acting this way, and this is the way that you want to act, and these are your values, and these are your values, but you're acting over here not in alignment with it, of course you're going to get harder on yourself. Of course you're going to look for fast fixes because you feel this incongruence, and the brain doesn't like that. The brain likes things to be true. And I'm reading a neuroscience book at the moment, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. But it's like what you said with flicking the light switch on, like these patterns. She told a story in there about how she got this new frothing machine, but to be able to froth her coffee, she can only put in a little bit of water into the actual mug before she froths the coffee. But because for 22 years of her life, she's been filling it up all the way to the top a certain way, even like a month into having this frother, she still always forgets to only fill it up a little bit because it's such an automatic routine to fill it up that much. And that is the reality. Like, the longer that you've been doing this for, the longer it is ingrained into your patterning, the more you need to put conscious effort to that thing to change. And if you're trying to put conscious effort to 10 different things you want to change, you're going to change nothing. Like for me, I had a few things that I wanted to change this year. The only thing that I've successfully nailed is my reading routine. Last year, I had a few things, and I still have one of those practices that I haven't stopped now because that was the one thing that I'm named as my top priority because I'm getting older now. So my skincare was my first importance there. And how did I make it easier for myself? My whole friggin' bathroom was full of skincare products to remind me, let's do this. I habit stacked it with, I wash my face every night. I brush my teeth every night. There's my habit. So I habit stacked it, and that helped me keep it. And then I habit stacked my reading. I habit stacked it with, I'm reading this with my last meal, and then I'm going to read it in bed. Yes, it was hard to start with because what was my other habit? It was using my phone. So now what I do is I set 1 hour aside to read with my dinner, and then I allow myself 30 minutes of social media time to scroll my phone before bed. But then the phone goes away at 8 o'clock. So if I get in bed before 8 o'clock, that's my social media time. And then at 8 o'clock until 9 o'clock, I read. And then I go to bed. And here's a good tip as well, because I know a lot of people have sleep routines that aren't great. We might talk on sleep and steps, the two S's, soon. because yeah. But if you have a phone, which you should, if you are someone who likes buying new phones, and a lot of people like doing that, I don't, but I got a new phone and it has this thing called sleep mode on it. And this sleep mode turns off all my apps, except the ones that I set to not turn off. So the ones that it doesn't turn off is my coaching app with my coach, because I have habits in there that I track before I sleep, and my food tracking app, and blah, blah, blah. There's some that don't turn off, but everything else turns off. My phone goes to grayscale. It goes on do not disturb mode, and I can't open Instagram. I can't open Facebook. I can't open the typical tabs that I would be scrolling at night. And that goes on at 8:15. I give myself a little 15-minute leeway for my scrolling, because I know that I might want it, because sometimes I might not get in bed until 7:30 or something. It's like I want a little extra time to scroll. But then it goes off, and I make sure it, like, so many times I want to cancel that thing, but I don't. I keep the promise to myself. And when I do cancel that thing, I immediately regret it. I get hard on myself. I feel like crap. But then I'm like, wait, berating myself for this isn't going to make it any better. I just need to make sure that I make the next positive step tomorrow. Yes, okay, I don't feel great about it. That emotion is okay to sit with. Don't just shun that off as negative, because that is showing you that you want to do this. But it's like, okay, what are you doing with that feedback? If you want to say anything else on that, go away with it. But let's go to sleep and steps, because Brooke and I first engaged on social media with boots, and we used to just boot emoji. We have to bring that back. No one will know our language. Boot emojis back. Go.
Wow. So, well, I will say with the sleep routine, I know, like, what helps me personally is I, like, as it starts to get darker out, and it's started, well, not really, not yet, because it's, summer here, but when it starts to get later in the day, like, I make sure that I keep lights dim. I definitely put my phone in another room at night. I don't want it next to me, because looking at your phone totally will keep it, like, wires my brain. So I think that your tips about, putting like that, what is it, like the do not disturb or whatever on the phone, it really does help. Yeah, it helps. I do something similar with my phone as well, and it's been very helpful. But I mean, oh my gosh, steps. You want to talk about steps?
Yes, because you can't just diet your way to lean, because that would, like, this is where a lot of people say that, like, it's friggin' 2024. Like, food is delicious. We want to be able to have this buffer space. But if you're not focusing on this huge thing, then you're just making it harder on yourself.
Well, yeah. And I also think that people really overestimate the amount of activity that they do. They're like, oh, I go to the gym for like 30 minutes, like 5 times a week. And it's like, okay, but then they sit for the rest of the day at a desk. So for most of the day, I sit at a desk a lot too, but honestly, getting an adjustable desk with my walking pad, which is actually right here, pressed up against my wall next to me, that was one of the best investments I've ever made. And it was like $200 something. I mean, I think you have a walking pad and a desk as well, right?
Yeah, the walking pad needs a new motor because it is shitted itself.
Well, it's a lot cheaper to replace one of those than a treadmill. Oh my God. I used to have a treadmill and it crapped the bed. It was very expensive. And then I ended up just getting this like $100 something walking pad. Best thing ever. But that is, and I mean, if you are stuck at a desk for most of the day and you work at home, because I don't know if you'd be able to bring one into work, but getting an adjustable desk and a walking pad can be a game changer for you as far as like your overall movement. And you can like walk and work and get lots of steps in and not even think about it.
It's honestly the most powerful thing you can do. And if you do not work from home, you are entitled to a lunch break. Yes. Sitting at your desk, eating at your desk isn't really serving you or your mental state. You need to have that break regardless. So getting yourself outside is one of the most powerful things that you can do for a walk. Like even walking around the office every now and then. Or if you drink a lot of water, you'll be going to the bathroom a lot. There's steps there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I am constantly getting up to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
You can drink so much water.
You can calculate all of these steps up throughout the day. And talking about the activity thing, I had a client, she she's been with me for like 6 years now, so she's already learnt the lesson. But she was a busy mum who was always running around everywhere and acting as though she was active, not seeing the results she wanted. She was running around everywhere, but not like on her feet, in a car. And it felt really busy. And she was very busy in her head, as in like thinking about so many things. She thought she was active until she tracked her steps. And then there are other people that are just really busy with work on the computer. They feel like they have all these tasks to do, but it doesn't equate to actual movement that is going to serve your metabolism and your health.
Yes, that is very well said. And yeah, and I think that, you know, what I do, I don't have I do have a smartwatch. I just got one, but I don't really use it. I track my steps using my phone. I have the Pacer app that I love, and I usually put my phone in a fanny pack, and that's how I track my steps. So just a recommendation to you guys, if you don't have a smartwatch or anything, your phone will track your steps for you for free.
Yeah, that is a great idea as well. I think what I really want to end this podcast on is something that sets a lot of people back, is one of the biggest things, and it comes down to that whole food culture thing that I mentioned. Yeah, it's the weekends. So let's talk about the weekends, because the weekends, there's a little structure for most people. Most people work Monday to Friday. You sleep in on the weekend, which is probably a really terrible idea if you don't keep at least the same sleep-wake cycle by about an hour. It doesn't matter if you wake up at 6 o'clock, if you usually wake up at 5. That's close enough. But yeah, let's end the podcast talking about weekends.
I don't think people realize how big of a chunk the weekend is. So they put in all this hard work during the week. They're probably having an easier time sticking to their targets during the week because they have a more predictable schedule, whatever. They're not maybe being as social. And then the weekend comes and it kind of all goes a little haywire, right? Because happy hour, going out with friends, whatever the case may be, eating a lot differently than you do during the week, eating out more, and a couple of meals out on the weekend. I mean, if you go out to eat, you're probably looking at like what, at least like you're going to be up at like near 1,000 calories, probably at least for a meal out, right? And then that comes with alcohol, and we know that, you know, if you have a couple of drinks, that could kind of make it so you're not making the best decisions, impact how your recovery, impact your sleep and all that good stuff. So it's just like, you know, kind of a shitstorm, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like this is a really great point to leave the podcast, because we need to zap. But I hope that you gained a lot from this. And if there is anything else that you have questions to ask, message either of us, reach out to us, go follow Brooke. Leave your handle below. It's Well Balanced with Brooke. So you'll find her in the description below. And if you gained anything from this podcast, it would mean the world to me if you could rate it. Like, it would just take 3 seconds out of your day. Just please, because I really want to get the word out there. I'm an avid podcast listener, and there is nothing that I hate more. And I know you're the same. You're listening to a podcast, and then there's an ad, and you're like, cool, it's just an ad. But then there's another ad, and then another ad. And then you finally get into the podcast. But then like a little bit later, there's more ads. I will not bring ads, but I do ask that you rate and review the podcast. Even just rate it. I don't care about reviews. Just rate it. If you want to give a review, that'll be amazing. But yeah, do that. And I love you all. And thanks for listening.
Thank you, Ruby.